Ju-young was born a mistake. In a world of broken abilities, all he can do is regenerate. But there's a catch. He feels all the pain. So he's bullied until his bones snap every day. But one day his bullies went too far. They hospitalized his mom and left Ju-young for dead. Now he's back to get revenge on his bullies and heal his mom at any cost. 10 years ago, our world changed forever when mysterious gates opened up, letting in hordes of monsters. But with this new threat came a new evolution. Humans began to awaken supernatural abilities. These awakened became hunters, humanity's new line of defense against the monster invasion. But this story isn't about some legendary hero. It's about our main character, who's getting his face rearranged with a block of diamond. Yeah, he's not exactly having a great time. His name is Kang Ji-hyung, and to everyone else, he's a total loser. At the high school for the superpowered, he's just a punching bag for a blue-haired pretty boy and his crew. You see, Ji-hyung does have a power, and it's a pretty broken one. He has S-rank regeneration, which sounds cool on paper but is actually a curse, because every time his body puts itself back together, he feels every agonizing second of it. So the school's top-ranked bullies use him as a living stress ball, knowing he'll just heal right after. They get their kicks from watching him squirm in pain as his body rebuilds itself from their attacks. And because he regenerates completely, there's never any proof of the abuse. The teachers and police can't do anything to help him, especially not when his bullies are S-rank prodigies who get special treatment from the government. The only reason he puts up with this living hell is because of one person, his mom, who runs a small restaurant and is the only good thing in his life. Since his dad died when he was a kid, she's all he has left. He lies to her about school, dreaming of graduating so he can become a hunter and provide for her. He tells himself to just endure it a little longer. Even as a low-ranked hunter, he could make enough to give his mom a better life. That single thought is what keeps him from completely giving up. He just wants them to be happy together, away from all the pain. That was the future he was fighting for. But that dream was shattered when the bullies from school left his mom in a vegetative state. The official story is that it was all just a tragic accident. It started when the bullies just so happened to visit his mom's restaurant and started harassing her. The leader tried to show off his diamond-making powers, getting way too close for comfort. As his mom pulled away, she accidentally knocked his phone off the table. And that little accident was all the excuse they needed. They claimed their powers, flew into a rage, and unleashed a full-power attack on a normal defenseless woman. But Kang Ji-hyung isn't buying that load of crap for a second. He knows exactly who did this to his mother. It wasn't a coincidence they showed up at her restaurant, and it sure as hell wasn't their powers going into a rage. With the birthday cake he bought for her lying ruined on the floor, something inside Ji-hyung finally snaps. Meanwhile, the bullies are chilling in a forest, not having a single care in the world. They're untouchable because they're minors and powerful awakened, so they know they can get away with anything. The leader even boasts that this wasn't his first time getting away with nearly killing someone. But his monologue is cut short when Ji-hyung appears, demanding to know why they did it. This is the first time he's ever stood up to them. He screams at the leader, demanding to know why he would do that to his mom. But the psycho just smiles. The leader just now puts two and two together, realizing the woman he assaulted was Ji-hyung's mother. He then mocks Ji-hyung, saying his mom looked young and that he almost flirted with her. And as Ji-hyung breaks down, the leader summons a diamond shard and impales him right through the chest. The attack is so brutal and sudden that Ji-hyung can't even react. But through sheer rage and grit, he pulls the shard out of his chest. He can only curse the monster who destroyed his life. But the leader isn't satisfied with just killing him once. He prepares to unleash an entire barrage of diamond spikes to finish the job for good. As he's pinned by dozens of diamond spikes, the leader just calls him a loser. But even looking like a human pincushion, Ji-hyung's rage keeps him going. Amused, the leader decides to let his other friend, who he calls Thor, have a turn. The red-haired bully powers up his lightning ability, ready to fry what's left of him. Ji-hyung is instantly engulfed in a massive electrical blast. Thinking the job is finally done, the bullies start to walk away. They leave his smoking corpse lying on the ground, still impaled by the diamond. But our boy is just too angry to die, and with his last bit of strength, he grabs the leader's ankle. Finally losing his cool, the leader encases his fist in diamond and smashes Ji-hyung's hand to pieces. He savagely beats him, while blaming him for not being strong enough to protect his mom. The psycho asks why Ji-hyung is even mad at him, as he continues to turn his face into pulp. The brutal assault is enough to make even a seasoned narrator cringe. The leader's face is splattered with blood, clearly annoyed that it took this much effort. He then turns to the final member of their group, a guy he calls Sandman. He gives a simple, chilling order. Dig. Ji-hyung lies there, broken and defeated, as they prepare his grave. The leader taunts him one last time, asking what he's going to do now. They throw him into the freshly dug pit and start encasing him in diamonds. Even as he's being buried alive, Ji-hyung screams that he's going to kill him. He swears he'll kill every last one of them. It's a promise fueled by pure, unadulterated hatred. The leader just looks down and tells him to try. And to make sure he never gets out, he seals the grave with a massive, unbreakable diamond. Trapped in the pitch-black darkness, Ji-hyung is left to rot in his own grave. He can do nothing but scream into the void as his mind breaks from the despair. But even in death, there is no peace for Ji-hyung. He tries to punch his way out, shattering his own bones against the unbreakable prison. But he quickly realizes that the diamond won't even scratch. There is absolutely no way out of this tomb. The crushing pressure and lack of oxygen should be killing him. His lungs burn for air that isn't there. He starts to lose consciousness, praying for the pain to end. But his S-rank regeneration forces him awake, healing him just enough to experience the agony all over again. And the process of his body stitching itself back together is excruciating. He's trapped in a never-ending cycle of being crushed, suffocating, and healing. For days, weeks, maybe even years, this overwhelming pain is his entire existence. His regeneration ability has become his own personal hell, refusing to let him die. He is completely and utterly powerless. But in his darkest moment, a thought cuts through the pain. This feeling of being trapped and unable to move is exactly what his mother must be feeling in her hospital bed. And with that thought, his despair hardens into pure, unyielding rage. He finds a new reason to live. He will get out of here. No matter what it takes, no matter how long, he will escape this grave. He makes a vow to survive and unleash his revenge. 5 years pass. The world has moved on, and a trio of S-rank hunters have become global celebrities. They're famous not just for their power, but for their supposed kindness and charity work. On live TV, they tell everyone how much joy they get from helping people in need. And wouldn't you know it, it's the same 3 psychopaths who buried our main character alive. The interviewer then brings up a rumor that they hurt a civilian 5 years ago due to an ability outrage. He puts on a convincing show, claiming the victim was his close friend's mom. The leader spins a sob story about how he couldn't control his powers back then because he was just a student. He even tells the audience he wants to apologize to his friend again, and the crowd totally buys it. But his Oscar-worthy performance is cut short when something massive crashes through the studio door. The door comes flying right at them. The leader barely manages to create a diamond shield to protect himself from the debris. The live broadcast descends into chaos as the audience screams that a monster has appeared. The leader can only stare in disbelief as a figure emerges from the smoke and speed blitzes him. Because for 5 years, a boy has been punching a diamond in a grave deep beneath the earth. He lost all track of time, not knowing if it had been months or years. All he knew was the endless, agonizing cycle of pain and regeneration. But no matter how hard he punched, the diamond never broke. However, the constant trauma was changing him in a way no one could have predicted. The endless cycle of injuries triggered an excessive regeneration, making him stronger every time he healed. To survive the crushing pressure, his body evolved, growing a powerful bone exoskeleton. He broke and reformed his body millions of times, adapting and evolving in his personal hell. The pain was unimaginable, a fate worse than death itself. Back in the present, the shockwave sends the so-called heroes flying. They're completely powerless against this new threat. And standing in the center of the destruction is Kang Ji-hyung, who has finally clawed his way out of the grave they put him in. He coldly declares, "I got out."
5 years after being buried alive, Kang Ji-hyung emerges from the ground, much to the shock of his former bullies. The red-haired bully, panicking, orders his men to kill Ji-hyung on the spot. But what stands before him isn't the weak kid he remembers, but a monster crackling with raw power. Ji-hyung, now a terrifying creature of bone and rage, has completely transformed. Before the bully can even finish his sentence, Ji-hyung's fist smashes his head into a bloody pulp. The other 2 bullies, including their leader, can only watch in stunned silence. The body of the first victim collapses as Ji-hyung turns his attention to the next. His glowing red eye promises nothing but a painful end for those who wronged him. Sandman, the bald bully, tries to use his earth-based powers to stop the monster. Sandman conjures a massive boulder, hoping to crush Ji-hyung completely. But Ji-hyung meets the attack head-on, shattering the giant rock with a single, brutal punch. The blue-haired leader watches from the shadows, realizing he's completely outmatched. He decides to take matters into his own hands, activating his diamond ability for a surprise attack. The leader smashes his diamond fist right into Ji-hyun's face. But Ji-hyun's face simply crystallizes to counter the blow, leaving the leader in disbelief. The leader's ultimate attack involves raining down a storm of crystal shards from above. He unleashes the full might of his power, intending to shred Ji-hyun to pieces. Countless projectiles converge on Ji-hyun from every possible angle. Ji-hyun is impaled by hundreds of spikes, turning him into a human pincushion. The leader stands over him, sure of his victory, but Ji-hyun's red eye still glows with life. Despite being turned into Swiss cheese, Ji-hyun slowly begins to move again. Ji-hyun rises to his feet, the attack having done absolutely nothing to stop him. The leader puts on an armor of diamond, intending to take the fight close up. The leader lands a devastating beatdown, but he's not done yet. He unleashes a barrage of brutal, non-stop punches. He finishes the combo with a devastating stomp, crushing the Ji-hyun's head against the floor. Suddenly Ji-hyun catches the leader's fist in his mouth. With a menacing grin, he crushes the supposedly unbreakable diamond in his hand like glass. The bully can only watch in absolute terror as his S-rank ability is completely nullified. Ji-hyun snaps up and impales the bully. Ji-hyun chews on the severed diamond limb, savoring his long-awaited revenge. The leader, now completely broken and disarmed, can only scream in agony and fear. He retaliates by summoning spikes, impaling the Ji-hyun from below. The bully tries to shuffle away while he can. Suddenly he's impaled by a spike. As Ji-hyun's silhouette looms over him, the leader finally breaks down. Terrified, he screams at the monster to stay away from him. Ji-hyun's only response is to tell him to stop his pathetic crying. The bully's screams are cut short as Ji-hyun prepares for the final blow. Pinned and powerless, the leader desperately asks his tormentor who he is. Ji-hyun looks down on him, his expression cold and unforgiving. He slowly removes the bone mask, revealing the human face hidden beneath. The leader's eyes widen in sheer terror as he starts to recognize the face. It's the face of the boy he and his friends bullied relentlessly 5 years ago. Ji-hyun's scarred face confirms the horrifying truth for the once arrogant bully. With his identity revealed, Ji-hyun resumes his brutal assault without a word. He smashes, claws, and tears into the leader, paying back every moment of his 5 years of suffering. The bloody beatdown doesn't stop until there's nothing left but a gory mess on the floor. With his revenge finally complete, Ji-hyun stands over the body of his final tormentor. He leaves the scene of the massacre, a lone monster standing amidst the ruin he created. The scene shifts to a hospital, where a much quieter reunion is about to take place. Ji-hyun, now covered in a cloak, has come to visit his mother. His face, now a mix of human and monster, is filled with a sorrow that his revenge couldn't fix. His mother lies in a coma, kept alive by machines for the 5 years he was gone. Ji-hyun stands in the rain, a monster born from tragedy with no clear path forward. Meanwhile, the story jumps to a party of hunters clearing out a dungeon. After defeating a group of monsters, the party praises one of its members for a job well done. A woman is being praised by her teammates for her performance on her very first gate dive. She plays the part of a shy rookie, thanking her party for taking care of her. But the group's friendly demeanor quickly fades into something far more sinister. They reveal their true colors, reminding her that no one knows what happens inside a gate. The hunters grab her, making it clear they have horrible intentions for the next month. The woman starts to cry, seemingly trapped with no hope of escape. Suddenly, the head of one of her attackers is sliced clean off, falling to the floor. The rest of the party is stunned by the sudden and brutal attack. A new figure emerges from the shadows, revealing another monster in their midst. Thinking it's just another monster, the hunters immediately team up to attack. They launch a coordinated magical assault, hitting the creature head-on. But their attacks do nothing, not even leaving a scratch on Ji-hyun's bone armor. The party's swordsman decides to try his luck with a physical attack. His blade shatters instantly upon contact with Ji-hyun's nigh invulnerable body. In the blink of an eye, Ji-hyun effortlessly dispatches the first few hunters who attacked him. The remaining party members can only stare in disbelief at the overpowered monster before them. Ji-hyun makes quick work of the remaining hunters, leaving no one alive. He finishes the last two with a single, brutal slash, ending their pathetic careers. Now, only the woman remains, kneeling before the monster that just saved her life. Ji-hyun turns his cold, expressionless gaze on the final survivor of the massacre. The woman cries, seemingly out of gratitude for being rescued from a terrible fate. She tearfully thanks the monster for saving her life. But Ji-hyun gives zero fricks and promptly slices her head off mid-sentence. To him, predators are predators, and he makes absolutely no exceptions. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoes through the area, asking Ji-hyun if his revenge was satisfying. The voice belongs to a woman who introduces herself as Sim Jae-in, the head of Korea's Hunter Association. Ji-hyun demands to know how she knows him, and she reveals a startling truth. Jae-in confesses that she has been watching him ever since he was buried alive 5 years ago. Enraged, Ji-hyun immediately lunges forward to attack her for her voyeurism. But Jae-in stops him in his tracks by yelling that she can save his mother. His attack stops just inches from her face, the mention of his mother freezing him completely. The shockwave from his halted punch levels the entire area around them. Jae-in calmly repeats her offer, promising that she can wake his mother up. She reveals her trump card: she is the world's only S-rank healer. Ji-hyun is skeptical, but Jae-in just laughs off his distrust. She then reveals that it was she, not the hospital, who kept his mother alive all this time. Cornered, Ji-hyun asks what she wants from him in return for saving his mother. Jae-in smiles, and begins to explain the current, grim state of the world. She reveals that hunters have become more powerful than any national military, even surpassing nuclear weapons. She explains that while hunters have killed most of the monsters, the gates themselves have not disappeared. Instead of being dungeons, the gates are now used as pathways for nations to wage war against each other. She confesses that Korea is losing the hunter war, unable to stop Japanese hunters from invading. But everything changed when Ji-hyun appeared. Jae-in explains that sending hunters to retaliate would mean war, but sending a monster is a different story. Ji-hyun clutches a tattered photo of his mother, the only reason he might accept this deal. She lays out her final offer: his mother's life in exchange for him becoming their loyal monster. Meanwhile in Japan, a meeting is being held at the Prime Minister's residence. The Prime Minister is getting a report from his Minister of Defense. He asks if the monsters inside Korea's gates are particularly strong, but the answer is no. He then asks if Korea has any powerful hunters, and again, the answer is no. Frustrated, the Prime Minister slams his fist on the table. Prime Minister Kaguryu demands to know why his hunters haven't conquered Korea yet. The Minister of Defense can only apologize and promise to rectify the situation immediately. The Prime Minister asks him what he'll do, and gets a confident smirk in return. Japan's #1 hunter, Ikosai Kajuru, declares he will handle the issue himself. He tells his assistant to prepare his sword, planning to go in alone. She cautiously points out that all the previous elite hunters failed, suggesting he take a team. But Kajuru scoffs at the idea, unleashing his aura and terrifying her into apologizing. A gate opens, and Kajuru steps through into the dungeon. He immediately scoffs at the mess left behind by his useless predecessors. But as he looks deeper, he sees the reason for their failure: a monster sitting on a throne of corpses. Kajuru's arrogant expression quickly turns into a furious snarl. He unsheathes his blade and launches himself at the monster with blinding speed. His sword crashes down with enough force to shatter the ground. But the attack is effortlessly blocked by the monster, Kang Ji-hyun. Ji-hyun is unimpressed, questioning how this guy even dared to try and block him. Finding the situation amusing, Kajuru sidesteps and lands a clean punch to the monster's gut. He then leaps into the air and unleashes his special technique, First Moon. The attack slices right through Ji-hyun's head, splitting it in two. Not stopping there, Kajuru follows up with his Second Moon, a powerful downward slash. The devastating attack slices Kang Ji-hyun's entire body into multiple pieces. Kajuru lands, slightly annoyed that the monster's skeleton was so durable. He decides to end it with his next move, Third Moon. But just as he strikes, Ji-hyun's body miraculously regenerates and counters with a blade of his own. For the first time, Kajuru looks genuinely shocked. Ji-hyun is back on his feet as if nothing ever happened. Kajuru arrogantly boasts that his sword can cut through anything. He claims it's sharp enough to slice through even diamond and decapitates Ji-hyun. With one final, decisive slash, he decapitates Ji-hyun again, wondering how the other hunters lost to something so weak. As Ji-hyun's head hits the floor, he dismisses him as pathetic. But as his consciousness fades, Ji-hyun's life flashes before his eyes, starting with his father. He remembers his dad being busy with work, but always making time for him and his mom. Despite being busy, his father was a warm and friendly man, always coming home with a smile. As a child, Kang Ji-hyun really loved that about him. Until one day, a speeding bus changed everything. In his last moments, his father's only thought was to save his son. And just like that, Ji-hyun's dad died because of him. After his death, the family business went under, leaving them with a mountain of debt. His mother, who once had soft hands, had to take on harsh labor just for them to survive. A young Ji-hyun would ask his mom if she was okay. She would always smile and tell him that she was fine. But the truth was, she was suffering immensely. And every night, he would lie awake, listening to her muffled cries. A dark thought entered his mind: his mom was crying because of him. He decided that someone like him, who only caused his mother pain, shouldn't be allowed to live anymore. His mother walks in, horrified to find him on the floor in a pool of blood. But as he looks at his arm, he realizes he hasn't died, he's awakened. The deep gash on his arm heals itself in an instant, leaving no scar behind. Seeing a report about the nation's #1 hunter, he finds a new purpose. Hugging his mother, he tearfully promises that he'll become a hunter. He vows to use his new power to make her happy. That was the reason he became a hunter in the first place. Back in the present, Kajuru sheathes his sword, thinking he's finally done. But just as he turns to leave, Ji-hyun's head inches toward Kajuru. Suddenly, Ji-hyun bites Kajuru from behind. He can't believe it, the monster is regenerating from literally nothing. Even after being decapitated, Ji-hyun's body begins to pull itself back together. Kajuru screams in absolute rage and disbelief. Completely furious, he prepares to unleash his ultimate move. He leaps high into the air above Ji-hyun, a massive magic circle appearing below him. The sky itself seems to crack under the pressure of his technique. He activates his Kageryu fatal arts. But down below, Ji-hyun's eyes just glow with anticipation. Kajuru unleashes his 12th moon. A storm of countless slashes rains down, aiming to obliterate Ji-hyun completely. The attack tears through the entire forest, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake. Kajuru stands in the crater, confident that nothing could have survived that. But he realizes he's taken some damage as well, limping from an injury to his leg. He mutters that he needs to heal, but a bone spear suddenly skewers his other foot, pinning him to the ground. Kajuru begins to panic, a cold sweat running down his face as he realizes the monster survived. Ji-hyun emerges from the rubble, his body having evolved into an even more terrifying form. Kajuru is paralyzed by sheer terror, unable to comprehend what he's seeing. As the bone creature lunges, all of Japan's hopes are about to be extinguished. But outside the gate, Prime Minister Kaguryu himself has arrived. His assistant questions if they really needed to bring all of the Ministry of Defense's elite hunters. But the Prime Minister is impatient, stating that since it's been 3 days, he needs to check on things himself. Suddenly, Kajuru's severed head is launched out of the portal, shocking everyone. And right behind it, Ji-hyun emerges, covered in the blood of Japan's #1 hunter. The Prime Minister can only stare in disbelief as Ji-hyun lands before him. With a single swipe, Ji-hyun's claw tears right through the Prime Minister's face. Or so it seems, as the man doesn't even flinch. Meanwhile, at the Korean Hunter Association, a different plan is unfolding. The chairwoman's subordinate warns her of the consequences of Ji-hyun's actions. But the beautiful and dangerous Korean Hunter Association chairwoman seems completely unconcerned. With a sly smile, she simply asks if he isn't curious. She's watching a live stream of the battle, wondering if Ji-hyun can actually win. A single, fiery punch from the Prime Minister smashes Ji-hyun's head into the ground. The attack is so powerful it creates a massive explosion, incinerating the entire area. Because Japan's Prime Minister, Ryazaki Judo, is far more than just a politician. He is Japan's #0, an SSS rank hunter whose power defies all logic. And with that, Ji-hyun's head is completely obliterated, his consciousness fading to black. 3 years ago, with the gate monsters mostly defeated, a new threat began to rise. The world quickly realized that the hunters were way more dangerous than the monsters ever were. So, in a brilliant move, a few countries tried to just get rid of all the hunters at once. It did not go well for them. This led to hunters either making deals with their governments to coexist peacefully. Or, just taking over the whole country by force. And the country that got straight up conquered by its own hunters was Japan. The reason for this hostile takeover was pretty simple: their prime minister was secretly an SSS rank hunter. This guy, Judo, was already a problem before he awakened, and afterwards he set his sights on taking over South Korea. However, his grand ambition hit a little snag. That snag came in the form of one unkillable monster named Kang Jihyung. As his forces face off against Jihyung, they notice the creature is regenerating from its wounds right before their eyes. Two of Japan's top hunters, Jidaimaru and Taku, step up to handle the problem themselves. They figured that even if it can regenerate, it can't survive getting its head chopped off. Jihyung proves that theory wrong by immediately countering their coordinated attack. Before the hunter can even react, his head is torn clean off his shoulders. The remaining hunters could only watch in shock as their comrade's body falls to the ground. Seeing one of their top rankers get taken down so easily sends the rest of them into a rage. But Judo calmly warns them that he'll kill anyone who dares to take another step. The hunter acknowledged the command and stay put. Kang Jihyung just watches them, completely unfazed by their numbers or their anger. Kaguryu's eyes glow with power as he prepares to finally step into the fight himself. The scene suddenly shifts to a snowy city street from the past. There, a well-dressed man finds a young boy huddled alone in the freezing cold. He approaches the boy, his expression intense and focused. The boy is freezing to death, barely conscious in the middle of the blizzard. Judo kneels down and asks the kid who he is, with news reports of his own power playing on the screens behind them. The kid can only weakly mutter that it's cold, collapsing onto the ground. Without another word, Judo wraps the kid in his cloak and leads him away. He then asks for the child's name. The kid looks up, revealing herself to be a young girl, but she's too weak to answer. As we snap back to the present. That child's name was Kajuru, Japan's previous #1 hunter. Unleashing his full power, Judo transforms into a being of pure magma. He effortlessly punches through Jihyung's chest, melting his bone armor on contact. The Prime Minister then unleashes a torrent of fire, completely incinerating Jihyung in a massive explosion. Judo simply watches as his opponent's body is turned to ash before him. Nothing is left of the monster but a scattered eyeball and some melted bone fragments. He's not done. He unleashes a massive blast of magma. The sheer force of his attack carves a massive trench into the very earth itself. His followers can only stare in awe at the overwhelming display of power. He stands completely unharmed in the middle of the molten battlefield, proving the gap between him and everyone else. Meanwhile, Jihyung's body is being violently melted down to the bone. Judo doesn't even give it a second glance, his objective now complete. We cut to another flashback, where he declares that the resistance has been crushed. Standing over a pile of bodies, he apologizes to the girl he saved, Haname, for making her do these things. Haname cleans the blood from his face, telling him they'll conquer South Korea and China next. He warns her that she might die, offering to let her stop if she wants to. But Haname reminds him that he saved her when she was dying and vows to serve him for the rest of her life. She tells him, however, that there is one thing she wants from him in return. She asks if, once their conquest is complete, she can finally call him father. Judo just scoffs, calling her desire close-minded. Haname looks up at him, shocked by his words. He tells her that even without asking, she was already his son. And with that wholesome family moment over, we cut back to the raging volcano in the present. A blue-haired woman appears, using her ice powers to cool the lava's edge and crying out Judo's name. But it's too late, as Jihyung's skeletal form rises from the magma to face the Prime Minister one last time. Judo activates his final ability, full-body magma synthesis, planning to melt Jihyung down to his very last cell. The monster doesn't stand a chance against the fiery onslaught. Judo unleashes a torrent of hot lava. The force and temperatures melts away Jihyung. Jihyung's skeleton jumps out the blast and attempts to attack from above. Judo slams him down and unleashes a new lava blast upward, blasting Jihyung away. The impact triggers a massive eruption, launching Jihyung's remains high into the air. The other hunters scream for everyone to dodge as lava rains down from the sky. The explosions is so huge it can be seen from all over the city. Judo just stands there, admiring his handiwork. Meanwhile, what's left of Jihyung's skeleton dissolves in a pool of lava. Judo calls out to Haname. She immediately rushes to his side and he asks for her hand. Haname uses her ice ability to cool down his body, the battlefield, and seal the volcano. As his personal cooling unit does her job, Judo orders Jihyung's remains to melt away. Deep within the lava, the last remnants of Jihyung struggle before finally sinking. Juto declares that the monster will remain there, melting for all eternity. The scene then cuts to South Korea, at the headquarters of the Kyum Kong Guild. Inside, a mysterious woman with a red ponytail performs a strange ritual, her own veins bulging with effort. She channels a massive amount of energy into the body of a man hooked up to machines, seemingly trying to revive him. As the energy surges, the man's eyes snap open, revealing a brilliant blue glow that hints at a terrifying power being born.